Hello, welcome back to the path. I don't know about you, but I find that I need constant reminders to stay aware and mindful and to be focused on those things that I would like to experience rather than focus on those things that upset me. And you think that this would be easy because I do know what I want, and I know that I want these things, and supposedly they're going to be good for me. But as we've learned, if you've been following this video channel, staying on the path can be very challenging. And this is mostly because of the stories we tell ourselves. And these stories are based on our belief systems, which are essentially inherited gifts, unwanted for the most part, from other people. Friends, family, society in general. And these beliefs is how we identify. And we identify what we can do, who we are, and what we can't do. And most times these belief systems aren't even true, but yet we still live by them. And so we need to be aware that we're interacting with our reality with a flawed belief system. And so that is going to cause us to step off the path more often than not. So to stay on the path, it's really important for us to have reminders. And this process needs to be conscious, it needs to be deliberate, but of course, we should remember that we need to be gentle with ourselves because we're working through a belief system that is not exactly in our favor when we're working towards staying aligned, in tune, and aware and mindful. So today I'm going to give you a number of different ways that you can remind yourself to stay on the path. Because if you don't, you may fall back to automatic programming. And it's all these routines that we do and the actions that we do on a daily basis that sets up it almost creates a belief system and a pattern of behavior that we can't break out of because of our brain structure and how the brain rewires itself for routine, and it becomes an expert at doing anything that we do over and over again. We've learned this. So the brain doesn't know the difference between what's good and bad for us. It simply does and gets good at what we do over and over again. So if our routines are based on a flawed belief system, then we're going to get good at doing the things that kind of allow us to step off the path. So we need those reminders. So what are the reminders? Well, first and foremost, you should remind yourself to set an intention for the day, to set the tone for the day. So when you get up, say, I intend to be mindful and aware today. Now, this sounds like a really simple process, but it's really useful because it's going to give you that anchor and set the tone. Without that, you might fall completely into automatic mode and go into those habits and routines that you do on a regular basis. But if you set the intention, if you set the tone, then that will give you the signal when something happens in the day not to fall to automatic programming. It will give you the signal to fall back to being mindful and aware because that was your intention at the first of the day. Understand that your natural state is awareness, that you're connected to the universe and the world around you. And you're not only connected, you are that connection. So the more you understand that there is no separation between you and everything around you, the more you're going to be able to stay on the path and stay focused. Remind yourself that change is a gradual process, and because it's a gradual process, it doesn't have to happen all at once. So if you find that you've happened to slip off the path, it's no big deal. Just recognize it and step back on. When you're off the path, say, okay, I see that, notice it, step back on. No judgments. You don't have to beat yourself up about this. Remember, this is a gentle process. Also understand that setbacks are okay. Setbacks, so-called problems and failures, are going to happen along the way. And in fact, these things are actually good. And if you can get yourself in the mindset of understanding and expecting these setbacks to happen, then they're going to not mess you up as much as if you're resisting them. Just again, notice them and say, okay, I did that, and then move forward. And be grateful for the setbacks, because if you're grateful for the setbacks and the failures and the so-called problems, you're going to be able to understand that these are your greatest teachers. When you have any failure or anything that causes or constitutes a problem for you, this is when you have the greatest opportunity for growth. So be grateful for these times and look forward to them. Anticipate them. And when they happen, instead of getting upset, say, another opportunity for greatness, an opportunity to express mastery. And lastly, you may want to set a physical reminder for yourself. Now, these physical reminders can be just about anything. It could be a bracelet that reminds you to be present and mindful. It could be, people used to call them gratitude rocks, but a rock that just simply reminds you that every time that you feel it, you put it in your pocket. Every time you feel the rock, you take a minute, take a breath to be mindful. And what this is going to do is going to set a new routine for yourself through the day, because you're reminding yourself every time you feel the rock or feel the bracelet, and you're aware of these things. Now, just keep in mind, however, that when these things, the bracelets and the rock in your pocket, becomes commonplace and you start to not notice them anymore, switch it up, do something else, because you don't want them to go on automatic for you. You want to be able to notice them. They want to be slightly uncomfortable in your pocket or on your wrist, because you want to be aware of them, because they are your keys and your signals to be mindful and aware of whatever else you're trying to achieve that day. So by keeping these reminders in place and being gentle with yourself, whenever you step off the path, you're going to be able to get back to the path that much easier. I hope that this was helpful this week. All you need to do is remind yourself to stay aware and present. And when you notice that you've stepped off the path, just step back on. It's that simple. No judgments. If you'd like to leave me a comment, I'd love to hear from you. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so if you would like more content. And until next time, stay on the path.